Well, French leaders have ramped up their rhetoric against radical Islam after a Tunisian man killed 3 people in a church in the southern city of Nice. Nick Dole has more from London.
Unfortunately, the people of Nice are no strangers to terrorist attacks, and they're now coming to terms with this latest crime. Many people turned up to the Notre Dame Basilica where this terrorist attack took place. Many of them had floral tributes. They held a moment's silence for the 3 victims. Now, one of them was the church warden. We also know another one was a 44-year-old Brazilian national, but long-time French resident. Her name was Simone Barreto Silva. She was a mother of 3, and we're told that she was able to tell those around her to tell her children that she loved them before she died. So some really sad stories emerging from this terrorist attack that the French government says was committed by an Islamist militant. And we did hear from one of the priests who spoke at the church a little earlier.
We're used to facing challenges. This one is particularly tragic. It's a challenge that we have to live through in our hearts, in our bodies, in our emotions. But we should also live through it with the necessary reactions for ourselves, within ourselves, if I may say so. Standing back up and the reaction for all of society, for the entire city of Nice and for France, which is to try to move on, to stay standing and to be united and together in these moments when they want to divide us.
So, Nick, what more do we know about the attacker?
Well, he's a 21-year-old Tunisian. Brahim Awissaoui is his name, and French authorities say that he only arrived in Europe about a month ago from Tunisia via the Italian island of Lampedusa, which is a popular landing spot for migrants from Africa. Authorities in France say that they've pieced together his movements. They say that he arrived via train in Nice early in the morning on Thursday, that he walked to the church and then he began his crime spree, which they say lasted for about 30 minutes. Police say that they confronted him and they tried to subdue him using a taser. They claim that he then ran at them, and so they brought him down by firing live rounds. And they say they also found several knives and a copy of the Quran and a couple of mobile phones as well. They have also made an additional arrest. They've taken a 47-year-old into custody. It's believed that this individual had been in contact with the alleged militant shortly before the attack, but we don't have much more details about that at the moment.
And finally, Nick, the French government is warning that there could be more attacks?
That's right. The Interior Minister has warned the French people, essentially, to expect another attack. Thousands of extra police have been sent onto the streets, not only of the major cities, but across the country, to try to guard against what the French authorities believe is a realistic threat.
The Defence Council decided that our vigilance needed to be raised. 3,500 police reserves will be called upon, and from Monday can be called upon by local prefects, along with 3,500 mobile policemen. And in the city of Nice, as far as the Interior Ministry is concerned, 120 policemen will be sent to reinforce the protection of the city, struck several times by terrorist attacks.
Of course, this all comes at a time of incredible tension between France and some parts of the Muslim world. French President Emmanuel Macron has defended the right to publish caricatures of the Prophet Muhammad, something that is offensive to many Muslims. And of course, those caricatures were linked to the beheading of a French teacher earlier this month, and of course earlier the attack on Charlie Hebdo as well. So he says, President Macron says he's defending secular France, but we have seen a number of angry protests being held around the world. We saw protesters scuffling with authorities in Gaza and the West Bank, burning pictures of Emmanuel Macron. We also saw large protests in places like Beirut and Bangladesh and Pakistan as well, and more protests are planned too. So there is a lot of anger to do with President Macron's stance, and that is one of the reasons France is now on its highest level of security alert.
Nick Dole joining us from London. Many thanks.